Hey folks, this is Renner from Casne Engineering. Today I'm going to be giving you a demo of Casne CloudStream. I'm going to show you how you can use it to send data from your Pi system to your ArcGIS server. For this demo, I've prepared a simple AF structure where I have 4 example locations. Each of these elements are using the same template. This template is called remote assets. And inside of these elements, I have data like humidity, latitude, longitude, level, pressure, temperature, things like that. I want to take this data and I want it to be displayed on one of my maps in ArcGIS. I'm going to do this by using a combination of ArcGIS GeoEvent server and Casne CloudStream. So in my ArcGIS server, I've created a ArcGIS GeoEvent definition. This definition matches some of the data that's available inside of my elements. I've also created a GeoEvent input. This is an input type of receive JSON on a REST endpoint. This is the type of endpoint that CloudStream uses. So here I am in the CloudStream system control panel. This is where you control all of your CloudStream nodes. As a fully distributed system, any number of nodes can be controlled by one controller. For this demo, I only have one node. It's our Casne HQ node here at our Casne headquarters. To get started, I'm going to start by clicking on this Manage button for this node. Now that I'm managing the node, I can create our new source, new destination, and then hook them together as a new service. So let's get started by connecting to our Pi system. I'm going to click on New Source and then click on the AVEVA PI System button. The first thing I need to do is give this data source a name. Next, I need to tell it where to connect to. So I'm going to enter the URL for our Pi Web API. Now I need to authenticate by entering my username and password. With all this information entered, I'll validate the connection. Now that I've successfully validated, I need to select which AF server and database I want to select data from. Since I'm collecting data from elements that I'll share a template, I'm going to sync using template mode. I will then select my AF server and my database I'm going to be using for this demo. From there, I can choose my templates. CloudStream will query for every template in your AF database that you selected. I'm going to select the remote assets template. I also need to choose my data recheck rate. This is the rate at which CloudStream will check for new data from any of your elements using this template. I'm going to set it to 30 seconds. Finally, I'll move to the Transforms tab. This is where I can modify the data coming out of CloudStream. When we get to this tab, we're greeted with a preview of what the data looks like as it's going out. Now, I want this data preview to match that data from my GeoEvent server. If I need to add or remove properties or change property names, I can do so on this screen. In this case, we have a couple properties that we don't need, such as object ID. So I'll go ahead and remove that. To remove a property, you click here and then you simply delete it. In this case, object ID is not part of my GeoEvent definition, so I'll remove it. Additionally, in my GeoEvent definition, I'm using the property temperature instead of temp, so I can rename that property here. The property I need to rename is called temp, and I'll be changing it to temperature. Now my data preview matches up with what my GeoEvent definition is expecting, so I can go ahead, save this data source, and start making my destination. All right, to create my new destination, I'll start off by clicking the New Destination button, and I'll select Esri GeoEvent Server. I'll give it a name, and then I'll enter in the URL for my GeoEvent server. This will be that URL associated with our GeoEvent input service. Now that I have that entered in, I'll go ahead and save and test the connection. The test was successful, so I can go ahead and close this out. All right, now I just need to connect them together as a CloudStream service. I'll give it a name, then I'll select the source I made and the destination. As soon as I press Create New Source, data will start transferring between the two. It's as easy as that. From here, I can click Trend and I can watch data flow through the system. So it looks like 4 data points were sent. This would be 1 data point for each of our elements in Pi AF. And now if I go back to my map in ArcGIS, I can see that the data is here.